here's Brody Brazil.
So I already know with doing this video, I'm going to get accused of doing it for the clicks, doing it for the attention, doing it just to make content. But let me assure you, it's not like that at all. I've put in the work, I've done the research, I have some genuine thoughts and opinions that lead me to wonder if we should at least ask the question. I'm not saying for sure keep it or for sure dump it. I'm just wondering here and now, is this a point in time where the NHL should consider getting rid of the President's Trophy? There's Steven Stamkos accepting it a while back. By the way, if I put a bunch of trophies in a line, do you even know what the President's Trophy looks like? And how come so many people call it the President's Cup? This isn't golf. It's also not the President '(S) trophy. It's the President's '(Trophy. This is the most misgrammared trophy, I think, in all of sport, but I digress. I think there's actually some legitimate reasons to consider in this video, and I'm glad you're watching this. I hope you stick around. Let me at least try and explain myself. I understand that on social media, the ratio is about 2-to-1, at least on my channels, that say the NHL should keep it versus dumping it. But let me give you some background, and then let me give you some reasons of what I believe goes behind this. This trophy is awarded to the NHL team with the most points at the end of every regular season, and if there's a tie, that's broken by regulation wins. Let's make no questions about this. An NHL season is a gauntlet for teams, for players, and whoever comes out on top of that, no, it doesn't have the ultimate significance of doing well in the playoffs or lifting the Stanley Cup, but there is something to be recognized about that. I'm not just sure that a trophy is the ultimate answer for it. This used to be the old Prince of Wales trophy. That's what it was designated for from 1937 to 1967. They did away with the Prince of Wales trophy for this recognition, most points by a team in the league during the regular season. So from 1982 to 1985, it was a monetary bonus. Now we're talking. The bonus back then was $350,000 per team that was evenly split up among roster players. Certainly inflation has taken place since then. I'll talk about a different bonus, a financial bonus or incentive that the NHL could do moving forward. But just remember, back then, early 80s, $350K split across all the players of a team. The current trophy was then first awarded in 1986. So for a lot of people who say, well, this has always been done like this, not necessarily. Remember, Prince of Wales trophy for a long time, several decades and generations. 82 to 85, it was money. And then 86, the NHL's Board of Governors decided, hey, we need a trophy for this, so we'll start handing that out. So let's begin with my reasons for doing away, or at least considering that, for the President's Trophy. Number one, so many people think of this trophy as a curse, almost like a scarlet letter already. It's been won 38 times, including the New York Rangers of this year, who are obviously not even going to be playing in the Stanley Cup Final. Of those 38 times, 8 teams have gone on to win the Stanley Cup. So it's possible, it's just not likely that the best regular season team is the best playoff team and wins it all. Of the 38 times, 3 more teams have been to a Stanley Cup Final but lost it, and just as many teams have won the Stanley Cup as have been eliminated in the very first round. What a big upset that is. You're the heavyweight, you're the number 1 seed, you're the best team in the regular season, and you got bounced in your very first playoff series. I know, unfortunately, firsthand what that's like. It's not great by any means. And as I record this here in 2024, we've not had a Cup winner who was the President's Trophy, I almost did it, President's Trophy winner, since 2013. Was that Chicago, right? Who did it in 2012-13. So I'm here to say that of 38 times, it didn't used to be this way, which I'll explain in a second. But in recent times, if you win the President's Trophy, it's almost like a curse. It kind of feels like a consolation prize to what happens next. Hey, you won the President's Trophy, so if you screw up in the playoffs, at least you'll have this. Nobody wants that. No fan base, no team of players, no coaching staff. Absolutely not. So I say it didn't always used to be like this. check this out. First place teams from 1967 to 1985. So basically before the days of this actual trophy and hardware being handed out, only 37% of teams that won the President's Trophy failed to win the Stanley Cup. That means 63% of the teams that won the President's Trophy won the Stanley Cup. And only 28% of the teams that won the President's Trophy did not go on to appear in the Cup Finals. So approximately 3/4 of the President's Trophy winners from 67 to 85 at least played in the Stanley Cup Final. And what did I say? 63% went on to win the Cup. It used to be a large majority that you'd go on to at least play for the Cup and even probably win it all. These days, like I said, you have just as good a chance of getting eliminated in the first round as you do going on to win the Cup. So in recent times, viewed as a curse. And this is not a long-standing thing or tradition or legacy. Yeah, you can recognize the team with the best regular season performance. You can hand out something, which I'll get to in just a second. It doesn't have to be a trophy. This trophy has only been in existence since 1986, which means I am 5 years older than it. So it hasn't been around. I'm young. It hasn't been around that long. What I'm saying is this is not a long-standing tradition to shake. And it never comes with a ceremony or a celebration. Nobody does a parade for this. Nobody makes T-shirts and hats for this. Nobody, sometimes there's a banner. Teams do put up a banner, but usually at the start of the next season. So there's no pomp and circumstance to go along with getting this President's Trophy. In fact, you almost feel guilty to raise a trophy banner if you didn't win the Cup that year. And again, I know firsthand the controversy and the back and forth that goes along with that. You want to honor and recognize a great regular season team, but not so much if they didn't go on to win the Cup. It kind of has that tease effect. Like, that was our great team that didn't go on to do what they were supposed to do. And so, yeah, this is just an easy thing, in my opinion, to eliminate. This is not a trophy that's been around for 50, 75, 110 years. It's been around less than 40 years. It's not even 40 years old. Even I'm more than 40 years old. I think there could be better incentives. I'm not saying don't recognize the best team of the regular season. I'm saying we don't need a president's actual trophy for that team. So let's go back to the early 80s. Let's do that financial incentive thing. Let's do the bonus. What about in 2024-25 and moving forward, what about a $1 million bonus per player on the President's Trophy equivalent winning team, the team with the most points at the end of the regular season, and you could still do the tiebreaker the same way, whatever. What about a $1 million bonus per player? Now, where are you getting that 20-something million from for all the active roster players? I don't know. Get a league sponsor. You can probably drum that up with promotion and different ways of being creative. I really do think there's a way for the league to not have to dip into its own pockets to do that. But $1 million of a bonus, if you're thinking, how much does that actually make a difference? The average league salary from this past season was about $3.7 million per player. Some much higher than that, some at the league minimum of $770-something thousand. But a $1 million bonus to pretty much any player is worth playing for and fighting for. But let's also be honest. Teams are already fighting for this anyway because they're trying to get home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, and we'll talk about that in a second. Here's another possible incentive. You allow the top seed in each conference to pick their first-round opponent. What about that? So not just the monetary side. How about you give them the option of how they get to start their first round? Stir up a little bit more controversy. Make this interesting. If you don't have enough money, $1 million per player on the President's Trophy team, let each top team from each conference pick their first round opponent. And I say that there could be incentives for this. I mean, teams, again, they don't market winning the President's Trophy. They don't make a big deal out of this. So you could just do money. Maybe money is more marketable than any trophy that you'd ever be handing out. The trophy itself is ugly. It's uninspiring. It's generic. Like I said before, if I showed you a line of trophies and said, hey, hockey fan, which one is the President's Trophy? A lot of you could. Don't get me wrong. But the casual hockey fan? Yeah, that's the Cup. That's the Conn Smythe. That's the Vezina, whatever. But what's that? What tall pillars? What is that thing? Little dish on the top? What is that? It doesn't have a name. What presidents? What's the significance? It wasn't caused by anything happening. I mean, compared to the Vezina, the Calder, the Conn Smythe, trophies that have a little bit of leverage. And yeah, those go to individual players versus the team situation. But I feel like changing those or ending those or altering those would have a difference. Altering the President's Trophy, no big deal. And like I said before, the real reward here is home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. It is absolutely not the piece of hardware that you're given after 82 games. There's also this. The President's Trophy, like I said, falls in this very unfortunate category. It can never come close to the Stanley Cup. It will never overshadow the Stanley Cup. And I said before, great regular seasons, they should be recognized, but they really never will by the hockey community. You only had a great season if it results in exceeding expectations, or if you're already great, going on to win the Stanley Cup. I also have this stat. Only 3 teams won the President's Trophy in a single year and then missed the playoffs in the next year after that. Meaning this, if you win the President's Trophy, you're a pretty good team. You have a pretty good chance of being back in the dance the next year around. I don't know that you want that recognition like, hey, you were the best this year, you didn't get it done. Good luck next year, because chances are, like I said, only 3 teams won it in a single year and missed the playoffs in the next year. You're usually peaking if you win a President's Trophy, so the expectations are sky high. And how about this? Since 2006, right? Since the labor issues and the lockout, the big one that cost the NHL a whole season, the first place NHL team of all the major pro sports in North America, basketball, baseball, and football included, the first place NHL team has the lowest odds of going on to win the league championship, in this case, the Stanley Cup, compared to the NBA, Major League Baseball, and the NFL. Think about that for a second. You want to give this trophy out, because you won the regular season. That team, who is best in the NHL's regular season since 2006, has the lowest odds across North American professional sports to go on and finish the deal. That's courtesy of ESPN.com. So again, I realize a lot of you out there, at least in my endeavors so far, will tell me that on a 2-to-1 ratio, the league should keep the President's Trophy. It makes things more interesting. It spices them up, and that maybe you should acknowledge a regular season performance by a team, the best regular season performance by a team. I'm just here to say I think there are enough reasons in place to do away with it and probably replace it with something else. I don't want to have nothing beyond home ice advantage, which is great, which is the real reason they're playing for it, but I think the monetary bonus is the way to go. I said it at $1 million. I think the league can pony up to that. They can find a way to get that done. Hey, you made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me in this video and this channel. And if you've never seen me before, that's actually great. I'm glad you found me, but I want to make sure you come back again. So go down there right now below me. Hit that subscribe button, because you know I definitely want to see you back here next time.